So when we got over there, they separated right away the women and the men. Then they started separating, by the women and the young ones, the older ones, and we were staying in line because they were separating, us. And I heard, calling me, fish, fish. And I couldn't see, who was calling me. Then I turned around, on the barrack, I saw my sister, but I didn't recognize her because she had shaved already her head, and she was, in the nude. And I asked her, where is her mother? She said she doesn't even know. They separated, her from my mother.
What kind of work did you do when you were in Auschwitz?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
But did your brother have to do work since
Nothing.
he wasn't a youth?
Nothing.
No.
In Sigma China, they need, 400, people. They said, the 400 people, so you had to register that you wanted to go. Because usually before, if you used to register, to go, they used to say to work. They took you, to a gas chamber and they finished them off. So, anyway, my brother, he registered. I came over to him in the morning, and I said, he said to Philip, they are looking for, for people, 400 people. I registered, I'm going to go. So I said, you're going to go? He said, yes. I said, I want to go too. He said, well, I'm going to take you. If you're going to go over there, they'll look at you, they'll kill you. No. But I said, I don't care what they're going to do to me, I want to go. So he said, wait, okay, wait a little bit. So I was waiting. Then he came over and he said, okay, you're going with me. I said, what did you do? He said, I went over, I risked, and I registered myself, one more time. But not on, I registered my, his name was Leo, and mine was Philip. So he registered later on Philip. And he put down as the age, and he said, 28. And he was 16. But how come, you say, at 28? Because nobody looked as normal, age. So, and this is how I got with him. If I was really appreciated because he risked his life for me. If they would have caught him, they would have shot him right there and shot me. Because there was so much bombing that people were hiding. It was almost, a day or two before the war already. So, civilians, didn't do anything, and the soldiers were trying to run away themselves. But
Right.
they wanted, to survive. They were screaming at us, treating us like we were dirt, not human beings. But, they wouldn't hit and they wouldn't shoot. Because if to do that, they had to get an order from the Oberscharführer, to do it. Because the first Oberscharführer, when we came, was walking around, and looking at us, that wasn't even, must have been by 8, 9 o'clock, at night. He was going around with a screw, which, was holding, I don't know how they call it, that what you tighten, if you want to tighten, something, a screw. If you have here the screw and you want to tighten it, so it shouldn't come out. Mm-hmm. You have that little thing.
The nut?
Yeah, this. And he was holding it out, and he went over. If he didn't like somebody, didn't look somewhere, he hit him over the head with it. And, and the guy was bleeding. But our luck was, when they were bombing, he was the only one that got wounded.
Oh, wow.
And they had to take him away.
And
So we got in another Oberscharführer, what I said, he was a lawyer. And he was a different, person. He never killed anybody. He never gave an order, to kill nobody. So that was our luck. That bombing was our luck.
what was it like the day that the factory, well, not the factory itself, but where you were living got bombed?
But I don't think that they really hit the spot. Mm-hmm. But they were going around, if they were the British or they were the Russians, we have no idea. But everything was, specially built, the barracks, and the kitchen, for because we were supposed to work. But ours went to hell. They bombed it. but the factory itself, they did not.
What happened on that day? What were people's reactions, and did anyone know what was going on?
We were in a shelter. I tried to go into the shelter too, but the power from the bombs that threw me in.
Oh, wow.
This how bad, this how close, what they were bombing, this how close they came to us. When we came outside, nothing was there. The only one thing what you saw is laying, bricks and wood, all kinds of things, but nothing else. But the most important, what we started to look, if something is left, in the kitchen, because they were cooking,
Right.
but there was nothing left either, because everything was spilled, mixed up. We couldn't even take nothing out from it.
And what were you doing in the factory that they wanted to bomb it?
We didn't do nothing. We were just working parts. We were making, let's say, we had to make those screws or whatever to fit in. That,
What kind of parts were you making?
screws
Screws? To
Yeah.
go into what?
to put together, for bombs, not from us. They went to 3-4 other places, also camps that were working. So each one done a different part. When I worked over there as a Stubendienst, which means, like a cleaning person, they used to give me shirts, to wash, and then they let me, have to boil them that I shouldn't get any, any lice, things like that. And then they used to send me in, after cooking, in the German kitchen. They used to send me in, to clean up over there or to peel potatoes, for the next day. And by that sense, I had a little more food than anybody else. But the planes, that what they, came down so low and they were firing. But we were staying, like, by gates, from private houses, gardens, over there, and they were going like that. Next to our legs, that's how close they came, to fire. We found out that the war is over on May the 7th, about 6-7 o'clock, in the evening. Because they told us, the war is over, and you can go wherever, you want. And the way I heard, it was recognized that the liberation was May the 8th. But we got free May the 7th. And, I was, with my brother. Everybody started running apart because we were not, sure of it yet how it's going to be. So I was with, with my brother.
Was it the Germans that told you could leave? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, the ones that were, especially, the ones that they were elderly, and they were glad that it's over. They are able to go home.
So there was no type of battle or anything?
No. But we had to hide because, from other soldiers, just to revenge and things like that, not the, so, we were looking for a place, we were with one more friend. There were 3 of us, myself, my brother, and a friend of mine, ours, not mine. So, when they told us, that the war is over, things like that, we didn't know even, what to do. We went berserk because we were not even sure if those, the Volksdeutsch, if they're not going to kill us. Just for satisfaction, we shouldn't tell, that they were so-and-so. But we were looking for space and we couldn't find. Then we saw a place, it was a bank, a German bank. So we said we have no place, but, we are going to go in over there, sleep over the night, at least not in the street. Because in May it's still, it's not such a pleasant thing to sleep outside. The friend of ours said he doesn't want to stay here, doesn't, he's going. So he left us. We went in, to that bank, and we looked, where to lay down, but it was cold there, May 7th, it was cold over there. So, we were looking with what we could make a little bit of fire, to warm up, and we couldn't find nothing. So we went over, to the how they call it, where they hide the money and things like that.
Safe? The
Safe, yeah. We went over, we opened up, the safe. It wasn't even locked. And there was laying so many packages of the German mark. So my brother said, they lost the war anyway, so the mark is not worth anything. So, we were burning, to warm up. I don't know how many millions we burned, but we burned. But afterwards we were sorry, a couple of years later, because the German mark was a German mark, and you could have bought anything in the world for it. We burned millions. You could have been multi-millionaires.
Did you ever find out what happened to your sister?
Yes, they were in Camp Stutthof, and she had some friends over there, not that she made it, but they were friends. But then came, order, the same like by us, in Auschwitz, to send out the needed people, someplace to go to work. So two of her friends, and their brother was my best friend, was the best friend of my brother, because they both went to the gymnasium, high school, So it was different. When it came out, they said that they need, people. Those two friends said to my sister, Bronca, like, here she would be called Bernice or Brenda, something like that. So she said to her, listen, we signed up, to go to work like my brother. Wouldn't you like to go with us together? She said, oh no, I'm set already here. I know what I'm supposed, she didn't want her to go. If she would have gone, she would have been alive. Because those two people that told her to go, they came out alive. But look, it's sometimes it is, for somebody, like they say, God said, this one lives and this one does not live. Why, she was, how should I say, prosecuted, from God and found guilty and to die in such a, fashion, I don't know.
Do you know how exactly she died when she was there?
Yeah, there were five, they killed 6,000 women, and all from the same town, from Lodz.
And this was before liberation because they didn't want them to be
That was in 1945. 3 days later, the Russians came in over there, and they found all the bodies over there. Because the word was that they were told, from that commandant, that Oberscharführer, to kill them. Because he said the Russians are coming in, and if they are going to be alive, they're going to kill us, because they're going to tell the Russians this one was so and this one was so, and they were afraid for their own lives, so they killed 6,000 women.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And one of those 6,000 women, came, was a friend of my sister's, and she came out alive, only for one simple reason: when they were firing, she passed out. And all the dead bodies, what would get killed, fell on her. So this why, she was late 2 days. If it would be a little bit longer, she would suffocate. But they were saved, 12 women were saved. And one of them were a friend of, my sister. And it makes you, if she would listen to the other friends, but nobody could predict those things, that the other friends, they are not going to kill them, that it's a lie, they don't even go to work, but they're going just to shoot them to get rid of, of Jews. We didn't know. But look, that's life, that's the world, There's a lot of things you can do, nothing. You can do nothing. But I hope, I don't know. We don't see any improvement even now. It's in a different way. You hear that they kill here, they kill there, It's never any peace, in this world. But I don't know where my mother, I don't have the, where my mother is or my sister is. She must be laying in some place, with thousands of people. And I can imagine the pain my mother went when she had to go into the gas chamber. We saw, the gas chamber, when you went in, you looked at the walls, they were, concrete. There were such deep scratches that people were choking, from the gas and things like that, and they tried to get out and they couldn't get out. Such a deep scratches you have on the walls that people tried to get out. I learned a lot, before the war, history, things like that. Not so much on, on belief, on religion, like it's history, Jewish, history. And I saw certain things that they say that, God said, to Abraham, God said to Jacob and things like that. And I never could find in all those, I don't know how many years, millions of, I don't know, never could find what, what God said, to Jacob or to Abraham. I cannot find them. They say God said so and so, but where did it happen? How did it happen? They said that God will, protect us, we were 16 million and they erased, 6. That was protection? Or was that punishment? How come God doesn't punish other religions, but only, the Jewish religion? We are the only ones that always get punished? That we were 2,000 years, how should I say it, without country, spread all over, the world? That's what came to me. I don't say that it doesn't exist, but I cannot believe in it. We left because we wanted to go back, to Poland.
After the war, you went back to Lutz.
Yeah, we went back, but we didn't stay long.
What did you do when you were there?
My brother got into a partner with somebody, he didn't even know them, bakers. And I used to take bakery from them to supply stores. We lived on that street, the number was 65. And on 63, when I came home, from work, was staying a fella boy. He must have maybe about 13 years. When I passed him, he was staying by his house, so he expressed himself very badly about Jews with the language. And he said, not the crazy Jews, but I'll tell it the way he said to me. He said the Parshiva Żydzi, the Jews, came again here. And I, in my mind, when he told that, I was ready to kill him. And then if we wanted, we were going, in the German school. It was a high, school, like, how should I say, not